Welcome, friends. You should hear me. Do me a favor. Just be a little bit patient today as we try and navigate some new dials and do some new things. Welcome to Solstice Night, Saturday Night Ride here on Dojo Earth Radio. Your ever effervescent host is here, emanating the magical jingling of the turtle on a string. Ladies and gentlemen, this entire world is quite possibly a giant turtle. There'd be less strange things and even stranger things that have been turned out to be true. And I am one of those things. So welcome you all. We have the opportunity to call in now. You will see that there is a number there for you to call in. It should be working. You can either call, I think you can call right into the Zoom, which is pretty high tech if you ask me. So feel free to try that. Welcome along. We've already got a super chat, which is pretty great. So I think I'll just shut down and go home and count this as a win. Appreciate you so much, Drew. And thanks for everyone else for being here. You know, life is short. It is like dwarfishly short. It is like Oompa Loompa short. It is Smurf short. And I know that we like to tell ourselves it's not. It makes us feel better. And I'm all for people feeling better. There's this other side, though. This other side that realizes there's only so much time, and what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do with the time you have? And are you pressing enough cider from those apples inside? Is the time that you're spending worthwhile? Only you can answer that question. I watch a lot of struggling artists because I'm one of them. And the struggling artist often misses the idea that survival itself is the first art. And that when you're out there on the street and you're trying to keep the lights on, you're trying to pay the bills, you're trying to keep some color green versus red or some number positive versus negative, you lament and you say, why am I spending all this frickin' time paying rent or paying a man or running from a man or pretending like I'm not running, running bum and all this other stuff? Why can't I just create? Why can't I just make art? It's such a beautiful question. And I don't want anyone to stop asking it. I think that we've gotten to this place because we've forgotten that the jungle is a canvas. That all the creatures, all the predators, all the prey, every vertebrae, every invertebrate, every divertebrate, every unvertebrate, all of them are creating in the strokes of survival. Strokes like from a pen. A calligraphy of survival is expressed in the world. And this is art. This art is flowing from you every moment of every day. How well you seize the moment, how tightly you grip the reins. All these things are you practicing your art, even if you're insisting that you're not. So we tell ourselves, if I break out of this pyramid, this Maslow's pyramid, if I can escape the clutches of food, clothing, and shelter, and I will rise up above and see that the pyramid, the shape of the pyramid is actually a road. It's a perspective that's laid out for you in the Z, that the shape itself always looks like a journey. No matter where you see the pyramid, it's a road. It's a road into the distance. And survival is that. This is the icon of survival itself, is to keep going. To embrace the rambling clam and keep walking, you know? And many of us wonder if we should be. Many of us wish we could stop. But deep down, all of us are creating. Deep down, all of us are artists. Most of us are living in denial. I've said this before, but I'm guilty of repeating things. See, there's only so much time, and when I started getting involved in social media, I found out pretty quick that what if you just had one thing to say? You can't just say one thing on social media because no one will hear you, or the algorithm will forget, and everyone will tell you, well, silly, you can't just post one thing. You have to post a thing every day for a certain number of days. And then if you post that enough, then enough people will deem that you're obviously serious because you're spending every day posting it. And that creates a secretion of importance that you place inside of the letters that you call your ideas. And this is art. We forget, though, that our survival is our art. And when you're young and you're not sure what to do, and when you're old and you know that everyone assumes that you are no longer wondering what to do, and if anyone catches you wondering what to do, they're gonna look at you funny. They're gonna say, "Why are you wondering what you should do? You're a long person now. You're an adult." And so it's not art anymore. But it is. We really shouldn't betray the idea that magic and currency are always the same. And that anyone that has currency is basically collecting the pain of survival. And they have a currency that allows them in certain ways, not every way, but in certain ways to extend the parasympathetic, to be comfortable enough to endure a more treacherous survival. This is art, see? Capitalism is art. Everything that happens in your brain is happening because of art. This is creativity is at its most core level. Nature itself, am I right? See, we forget that it's a canvas. We forget that it's one gigantic canvas, and none of us can escape. I like being trapped here personally. I like being trapped in the mortality of causality as I desperately cling to the idea that I'm not actually making art, but soon, if I keep surviving enough, I'll eventually be able to make art, and then I can catch myself and go, dude, all of your bills are art. All of the monthly subscriptions that haunt us all like demons, this is all paint, right? It's smart contracts. Our paint is smart now. It's pretty amazing, right? That our paint is smart. I'm going to play this here. You're listening to Dojo Earth. And we're back. Hey, you listen to Dojo with Radio, but you probably knew that. Hey, do you wanna hear a call? Let's see if this works. We got a call a while ago, and I'm gonna play it for you now. I'm pretty sure this will work. This will be good practice. Let me see. I think I have to go over here, and then no, actually, I think I just hit play. You should hear this. Here we go.
Hey, James, I got my own ingenuity here. What about innocent white authoritarianism? The paradox between the individual and the community and good intentions without knowing the consequences. So, with all your channels and, all the content that you create, I thought that might be something that I was thinking about, because I think I have tapped into the morpho field of the left with the masks. So I wanted to share that the innocence of white authoritarianism. All right, catch you later.
The innocence of white. Thank you for the call. The innocence of white authoritarianism, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think that means? I think that there is a virginity in objectivity. I think that when you live in a society that backs your cosmology, that you end up with this security blanket called objectivity. And you walk outside and everyone is following the same rules of objectivity. And if you're born with a certain melanocyte structure, you have this ability to create black holes inside of all your pores and absorb every bit of information that surrounds you. And we've decided to utilize this one important factor that makes us all octopi, that gives us all the power of the octopus, that we are entrenched in dismissing this power and calling each other racist. And so you have this thing called white people, which is hilarious. It's hilarious that there's this thing called white people. And that all of us know who's white and who isn't. And all of us have this preconceived idea of what it means, or how stupid they are, or how smart they are, or how privileged they are. And I think all of it is avoiding the basic idea of objectivity. If you can enter a third world, you really understand there's no such thing as objectivity. I found out the other day that saying the word third world is considered a no-no now. Did you know that? That you cannot be talking about things and say, those are third world people, because apparently that's a degreeism. I don't think that's the word, but the idea is that you're not allowed to insult someone by assigning a number to the kind of world they live in. And forgive me, I'm sure there's some proper name that I don't recall. And you should know that I still embrace and use the word retarded, because I think it means something that's supposed to grow has stopped growing. But we're not allowed to talk about things like that unless we embrace objectivity. It really is required, because everything that's offensive in the world is offensive because of objectivity. There's a fascism there that comes with it. I say that a lot too. But objectivity really is the only fascism that ever exists. It's the only kind that's ever there. If you didn't have that, then everybody would be on a playground and no one would even think to insist that There can be only one. Did you call yourself Bat Ranger? Well, yes, I did. Well, you can't be Bat Ranger because I'm Bat Ranger. This is objectivity. There's a fascism there. As you know, if you go to what we call a crazy bin, all the people in the crazy bin get to call each other Jesus. It's okay. There could be 7 Jesuses there. Each floor can have its own Jesus. And this is the lack of fascism. So much of our delicate sensibilities are held together by a colony mindset, by a placebic colonial mindset. Some of us call this an egregore. It's like a collective psyche. But if you go deeper, if you look at the fascism of objectivity itself, I think you could picture that you're living inside the bubble of that creature, that you have entered into the cytoskeletal framework, and you are inside. You are there. You're a part of it. It's like a 3-dimensional Venn diagram, right? And your mouse is hovering inside of it right now. And all the environment has created this structure, and a colony of people just like you is living inside of it, clinging desperately to the surface tension of the egregore's cosmology, objectivity. And so you can't go around saying there's no objectivity. You can. But Mark Passio is going to hunt you down. He's going to tell you about how dangerous relativity is. He's going to insist that if we don't have this moral codec law set outside from ourselves, then we wouldn't be able to find these things in our own path. The rosy path is full of thorns. And one of the things I really like about secret societies is that the good secret societies you don't actually initiate into. Nope. It turns out you're walking through the wilderness and someone hits you in the head with a book, or you hear about a rumor and you go to a cave and you pay a fee and you build up the courage and you pull the veil and you walk into the VIP and you're comfortable enough, and then you find out that turns out you remember the whole time. This is the secret society that I think a lot of us don't even know is there. The Rosicrucian is just one of these. It's this concept of the great work. I know all of you know this. But your work is your art, and the great work is your great art. So when you think about your finitude, when you think about how much time you have the opportunity to consider what kind of art you're putting out, what kind of things you're doing. Is it worth it? Is it going well? That kind of stuff, you know. This is really the only art we have. This idea that we're going to wonder. We're going to wonder if our time is being spent wisely. I don't think that I've spent an entire day wisely yet. I think I've had like a few hours where I've been like, this is really wisely. But I tend to peter out. I tend to dull the arrow a little bit, dull the end of the pencil. But I kind of like the shadiness of it, you know. You get that latent space. You can start to dream. You get all fuzzy, right? Yeah. So, white authoritarian innocence. There's really no other way that you can figure out what's right or wrong than just to insist the fascism that you've been weaned on has to be true, you know? And what else are you going to do? You're going to go out going, oh, it could be this way. No one can afford that. This is expensive. It's expensive to go around going, well, it could be that way. You know, I maybe don't see the whole picture. That's an expensive form of art. You're weakening the very stability because you believe in this idea of open-mindedness. And I say more power to you. I'm proud of you for doing that. But if you really look at how hard that is, it's a lot easier to show other people compassion for what they're going through, for how hard it is for them. And you understand everybody's an artist, you realize nobody is painting wrong. Nobody. There's some weird paintings out there, I'll give you that. But you're not going to like everything you see the same way nature's not going to like everything that you try and see. This is a beautiful symbiosis we have. It's beautiful. You know, it's a big day. This is the day when the wisest of men would convince everyone that things have changed. They would say for 3 days, the sun is still. There's a stillness in its beat, and it only takes a certain kind of patience to see it, an ancient patience, the ability to stay in the same place for 365 days of the year, and to stay in that same place, not just for that, but to do that 20 times in a row, 40 times in a row, until you start to notice a pattern. Now you have the analema, you have the infinity sign in the sky, and you're like, holy fuck, God has left me a message, and it's a figure 8. It's this endless loop. And you realize, hey, I'm not the only artist here. Every creature is art. Mosquitoes are Andy Warhol, you know. It's a powerful way to create. I'm going to come to this world with a giant straw on my face and shove it into pore holes and suck out blood. Living will. Mosquito drinks. Living will. Used to wonder why do we have mosquitoes, and I told myself it's because of vampires. You see, we hallucinate this world, and there are vampires in the world. You're one of them, so don't get all snooty. But that the world is full of vampires, but we don't want to see vampires. So, but the truth is in the room. And since the truth is in the room, we need some kind of costume to put these bloodsuckers in. And we invented mosquitoes, and it works out really well. We don't actually really see them. It's literally called no-see-ums. What do you think a vampire is? It's a no-see-um. It's the same energy. The exact same blood is being exchanged. It doesn't take a lot to turn someone. Just a little nip. Right? That's all it takes. They eliminated all the vampires at Walt Disney World. There's no vampires there. Did you know that? They're not going to tell you how they did it, but they somehow eliminated mosquitoes there. So when you go in there and you go to drink, because that seems to be what people do there, you buy like a yearly pass and you go into this special land, and inside this special land you walk down the street of make believe, and you go to a restaurant and you get drunk, and no one is going to suck your blood. This is the power of Walt Disney. I don't know if you can fathom how hard that is. There was a wizard a long time ago that said, we're going to go to the fucking swamp. We're going to invent a beer garden. And we're going to eliminate all mosquitoes. How do you even get there? Because you have to pretend. You got to do a lot of pretending if you're going to make that happen. It's true. Let's see if anyone called in here. Hey, special shout out to my sweetie. She's not feeling so good. And yeah, heart goes out to her. I just saw that she called, honestly, earlier today. I was too busy prepping for the show. So this could not be initiated microphone access. That's okay. But then, let's see what is going on here. And then, okay. There's some ways to, forgive me a moment. There's like a, okay, I don't know if I can switch back to voicemail, but that's okay. You're listening to Dojo Worth Radio. My name's James. I'm flying this airship tonight. You're flying with me. Yeah, so if you didn't know what I was talking about, the Orion is raising again. The belt of Orion, right, is like a giant alligator. It's like a hand on a clock, right? It raises up 9 degrees, then it falls 9 degrees, raises up 9 degrees, falls 9 degrees. And so this analemma, the same thing's happening, right? The days are going to be getting shorter now. Latent space will be returning. Your imagination has had enough time off, and it's time now for that to shine and to go out into the world and make abundance, right? I'm pretty sure I already did this. I think this is next. You're listening to Dojo Worth Radio. And welcome back. Yes, you're riding the airship. It's great to be here. Great to be here in this format. I appreciate everyone showing up and helping me do some tests. It appears that we had a friend call into the show and was put on hold. I'm going to encourage you, and maybe you got kicked off hold. I don't know. This is new. But if you were to come into Zoom and raise your hand, we can get you going there. If you do not know the Zoom link, you're going to have to join Patreon. That's the one thing you got to do is you got to join Patreon. But you can join for free. But I'm just saying once you go there, then you'll see the Zoom link, and then the Zoom link, you can come into the Zoom room. There's people in there right now. Drew, I'm going to ask you to turn off your video, only because actually, I can do that for you. There you go. And yeah, if anyone in there, great. We actually have a caller on the line. I was getting ready to say, I need you to raise your hand. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our first caller. This is different, so I'm going to see if I can do this right. I think you're now live. True, can you, assuming you hear me in Zoom, and I'm assuming that if you talk, people can hear you, go ahead. Okay, so he could be talking right now, guys, and maybe I just have something wrong. Wait. No, that is very possible. So, there you go. That's fun. I wonder, that's weird because this was working earlier. I'm not sure if it's just True or if that is everyone. So appreciate the test, ladies and gentlemen. It's always good to figure out these things. Let's see. Does anyone in the Zoom room hear me?
I can hear you, James.
Okay, so hey, that's a good sign. So I can hear you. So that did sound like that was a True was having an audio issue, and I think that the actual audience maybe heard you guys say there too. So thank you.
This is True. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Hello, True.
I was on hold on the call-in number, so there was a
right
conflict.
on. Thanks for calling into the airship. Yeah.
Absolutely.
What you got on your mind? You got something for us?
I have a confession to make. I used to be a part of a secret society. And it really, in all seriousness, it was a men's group. And I think you and I talked about this before. I won't mention any names, but they had a weekend experience, and nobody's ever supposed to tell what goes on in the weekend experience. And I actually got a lot out of it. And one of the things that I got out of it was a mission statement. And my mission statement is, I create a world of beauty and let go of the outcome.
Yeah.
And the work is letting let go of the outcome of the work. And, I always considered it the great work.
When do you remember first hearing about the great work?
Gosh, years ago, from a guy who was my counselor for a while, who I got to know, who was a childhood evangelist. That's an interesting story. But he was a clairvoyant. He used to do, the FBI used to call him for missing persons and stuff like that. And I never really got what the great work was. But at first, and as I did, as I explored my own psyche and got into meditation and wondered about the mysteries of life, I said, this must be the great work. Just the journey. It's the journey, not the destination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if I had to give someone credit for teaching me the great work, I'd say the universe, but then secondly, I would say probably Robert Anton Wilson, the writer. I think it was him who really kind of turned me on to the idea of magic being like a real thing, and the power of will, intent, and things like that. And that was my first introduction to it. But then I'll tell you what really sunk it in for me, believe it or not, was watching how horrible people are. It really hit me like a freight train. I I was noticing how horrible people are very young in my 20s. And I'll include even my folks, people my folks' age, just really just disappointed in the quality of people. And I started to just have the thought experiment of what it would be like if people were horrible, but they were just worse. Like if it was more like everyone is allowed to be anonymous on YouTube. If you, a long time ago, you could be anonymous and just like say just horrible things to other people and you could kind of get away with it. And then before Facebook, you kind of had, like on Reddit, you can really say some horrible things. So anonymity gives you the ability to really treat people like dog. Well, not like dog, because dogs are pretty good, but like really, really horribly. And so if we're given the permission to treat each other horribly under anonymity, how horrible were we to each other when anonymity was more like standard in the world? And that's where you start to think about how Rome formed and how marauding gangs were just wandering around, just like, yeah, we're just gonna, we're the Backstreet Boys. We're gonna fucking kill some people, and we're gonna make our choices based on whether or not they're citizens. Because if they're not a citizen, then there's no crime for it at all. And so just that creates a vacuum where everybody wants to be a citizen because they're just like, well, fuck, if I can just at least get to be a citizen, I can, there's a threat that if someone threatens me, that something else will threaten them back.
If you don't mind me responding, I remember one conversation or one insight that you had about the Freemasons. They were going around killing these non-citizens.
Yeah, exactly.
There were just too many of them.
Yeah, that's kind of it's if you follow this model, then you start to see why the Freemasons Rosicrucified themselves. What I mean is realize that the world itself put them in a position where they felt that they had to practice eugenics. This is so controversial to say, but practicing eugenics is the great work too. And unless you are really comfortable with nature and humanity being natural, that statement is almost impossible to sell in a bookstore.
Yeah.
That is the great work too. And I think it points to what righteousness truly means. What it truly means to feel righteous enough to practice eugenics is a very, very particular kind of vertebrae, a very particular kind of person that has that. And it places them in a different place, a kind of farmer almost. And there's no objectivity. Every practitioner of the great work is practicing the great work as if they are fully encoded, and it is a fascistic sort of objectivity, not because it's objective, but because it is subjectively truer than anything else they've ever seen. This is how I felt when I went to work in the wilderness camp. I practiced the great work, which mostly involved me manipulating and lying to kids to invigorate the vitriol to make their day harder, an effort to break their shell at group fire so that we could make progress. I was practicing a satanic identity because I had a love for them that was a higher vibration than their personal hatred they had towards me. I
mean, David, if you don't mind, just on that point, David Hawkins always said that, anger is a higher vibration than shame or fear.
Mm-hmm.
So that you were helping them. You really were. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't even know if it's fair to say I'm helping them. I think I'm practicing the great work. And that means that I can be held responsible for what I prune and what I don't prune. And when you look at probably what it took to be a Freemason that was feared, the reason why you were feared is because you were your own walking town. You were your own Rome. You probably created your own sense of justice, your own sense of what's right and what's wrong. And so you were naturally feared by people. It's the same thing with the evil eye. There's this ancient fear of the evil eye, the fear of being watched. And that fear of being watched is that rise from animal spirit into consciousness where you're no longer afraid of the signal. Now we have a culture where we worship the signal of being watched. We learn to drink from the toxic flavor of witness, and until we developed not only a taste for it, but a way to sustain and create and do even more. This is alchemy. It's the same alchemy that happens when we take our most elite, the ones that are the best of the best, and we say, hey, I want you to lick these lead spoons for decades. I want you to poison you and your family under the auspice of how rich you are and subject yourself to some of the most horrid medical procedures that you've ever heard of, all in the name of elite medicine. You're going to go to Turkey and snort an old lady's boogers that have been dried in the sun. I'm not making this up. And you were told this is what rich people do. It is so naive for us to think that that is not what's happening now. And really, this is the great work. The best of us is really running headfirst into the fire just to figure out which one of us isn't going to catch on fire, right? Which one of us isn't going to be flammable. So I'm not helping the kid. I used to think I was. I'm just practicing the great work. And what's really weird is I can't fuck it up. Even if I do horribly, I'm just showing people how to be horrible. I'm creating a model for other people to practice their horribleness. And if I can show someone how to be more horrible, that person's going to go out and Luciferianly just mind fuck so many berries and pollinate so many innocent white objectarians that have never once dared to have to question the orthodoxy. I think that's what the fashion is. But more importantly, more in your face, I think that's what pride is. The pride movement is that. It is the great work forcing you after years of saying, oh, real man, I'm a real man, I'm a Marble Man, and now we've told everybody about Marble Man, and now Marble Man in charge, and now we got kids and they're not Marble Man. They're wearing dungarees and they're doing weird things. And this is exactly what the great work would do. It would be like, hey, what's your most precious thing what's your most precious taboo? And you're like, oh, what's this? And then fashion and nature and culture goes, okay, thanks. And then it crucifies that. Turns it upside down and you hate it. And people are like, actually, it turns it on a tangent, to be honest, because turning it upside down would still be there. This is why when we invert the cross, we're still worshiping the cross, right? But if you turn it sideways, then now you got a different symbol. So you can't not practice the great work. It's all spin. It's all just identity perspective. I keep tripping out over how rotation and identity are the same. And we talk about the spin and the no spin zone and all the we describe news as spin, and the quantum physics is all about, fuzzy action at a distance via spin, and all these new computers are being built off of this atomic spin. Every single thing is activated by a rotation and an angle, and that's an identity, which means everything is given identity. All quantums is given an identity, and all it takes is a memory, and the memory it's such a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Certainly is. Yeah, thanks for helping me see that too, about helping, not helping.
Yeah.
And doing the work. I mean, I run into that every day. I mean, people get in my car, and it's like I just let them be.
Yeah, you drive really, people, right? You drive basically almost perfect strangers. Not they're almost, because they've find you, but yeah, people you've never met enter into your bubble, your reality. And you teleport them somewhere, and that's the great work too.
Yeah, my art is sculpting a peaceful space in that car. I mean, and it's cool. It's all good.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah. I miss delivering pizzas. That was always fun. I brought a pizza once to. I had like 5 pizzas in the car, and it was on Morrison Springs Road, which has 5 lanes, and the middle lane is a turning lane. And it was one of those old Chevettes, Godfather's Pizza Chevette, and it ran out of gas. I didn't have a choice. I parked in the middle of Morrison Springs Road, and it was a really busy road. And someone came. I don't remember how, but I obviously went to the gas station, got some gas, came back, and in the short time I was gone, someone was smart enough. Someone drove by and saw that this is brilliant, guys. To me, this is the great work. This is not the world is evil. This is the world is beautiful, because someone drove past that Godfather's Pizza car, and said, "Hey, there could be a pizza in there. Like, we should stop at a 50-mile-an-hour highway. We should stop in the medium and see if there's pizza in there." And not only did they scored 5 pizzas. This is brilliant. It's not that the world's evil. It's that each of us are creatively compassionating each other. Do you understand how much compassion it took for somebody to honestly put 2 and 2 together to even think to stop like that? Like, you were exposed. Like, everyone sees what you're doing. It takes a certain amount of confidence in realizing that, yeah, I can stop here. No one's going to know that I'm not related to this. I can walk up to the car. I don't have to worry about it. It could be unlocked. There could be pizzas in there. It's when I was that young, because I was probably 17 or 18 when that happened, it never occurred to me. I wasn't that wise yet. I wasn't compassionating all of the world yet. And that's a special kind of depth. It's a special kind of fishing. And this is why survival is an art. Because you have to know where the fish are. When you break it down, those pizzas were ruined. When you break it down, no one was going to be able to get those pizzas. The pizza delivery guy, even I probably get free pizzas. Honestly, those pizzas were best going to the person who was predating on it, who saw the opportunity and said, survival is worth it. practicing this is worth it. And it taught me so much about the great work because it happened. I didn't learn because everybody's following the rules. Each of us are cracking each of us open, so to speak. Thank you, True. I'm going to turn you down here. You're listening to Dojo Earth Radio. We'll take a little music break. Thank you all for joining me on the solstice. Lovely time. Meow, 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 meow. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful song. That's Lona. That's all I can tell you about it. Lona. Lona. You know, that's what happens around here. You're listening to Dojo with Radio. It's really nice to be here. Appreciate you showing up and giving me a listen. You know, solstice is always a marker. We only get so many. And finitude has been a big part of my diet all year. It's part of why I was talking earlier about how important it is to decide if you're practicing the great work or not. But James, you said that there's no way you can't practice it, and I agree. Really, the only thing we can do is decide what we're going to do when we're going to do it. It's a preference engine. All we really have is our preferences. So no, there's really not a wrong action. But at the end of your life, you're going to... Gosh, how do I say this? I want you to picture where in latitude and longitude you were when you were born. If you were a flat earthian, which I think makes it easier to picture this, but it works either way. But if you believe in a stationary location, that you were born in a stationary place, then I want you to picture the shape of your body then, the 16 skin cells that didn't even know they were skin cells yet. That's how big you are, but I want you to mark that. And then I want you to move 1 second in time. And I want you to mark the size of your body there too. And then I want you to move 1 second in time and mark the position of your body there too. And I want you to connect those with a giant marker that works in 3D space. And as every second is added, you were moving a marker to the next spot on the page. You see, there's something very particular about death. There's something very particular about life. Life is a start and a stop. Did you notice that? It's like when a pen touches the page, you're born, and your life is only as long as the pen is touching the page, and then it lets go. This is your signature. Your signature, just like when it's on a page, exists in this three-dimensional world. And every second that you're here is a squiggle. It's an extra position where your pen goes. And God is looking at your signature in a three-dimensional way. He's tracing the shadows, not of the light, but of your smell, of your presence. That the shadows of those would give you the branches of every single person that you've ever touched. All of the bronchioles, all of the capillaries of feelings that you've had for each other would be these little branches, like branches on a tree, like branches of roots. And that each of these would be captured in this three-dimensional way because, as I said, the moment you're born, you're 16 cells and you're this large, and then you slowly grow into the size of an almond, and then that almond slowly grows into the size of a walnut, but meanwhile you're moving. You're scribbling around the world. Your mom drove you home from the hospital, so now you're a long line. Your marker traced itself from the hospital to this place that you learn is called a house. And you learn that this house is something that you grow up and you squiggle in that house a lot. You squiggle a lot. And if you grow up there, you leave the house every day, your squiggle leaves and it goes to this other place and it squiggles around school a lot and it squiggles in different rooms for every year. It squiggles. And no matter what grade you're in, everyone squiggles around the lunchroom. Everyone squiggles in the auditorium. So the signatures have a similarity. You'd be able to look at that life and scan it like a barcode and go, oh, look, they went into school. Look at how many times they practiced this squiggle. And they'd look at the squiggle of a figure dancer. They'd look at a squiggle of every time you play. All the football games. Every motion that you took is a squiggle. What your arms did, what your legs did, how your neck was turned. All this is built into this squiggle. And there's only one thing about this squiggle that all of us know. And that's that the second that the squiggle stops touching the page, it's over. This is not a tragedy. This is what makes it matter. If it didn't have this, it wouldn't matter. We have something, a machine. Let me phrase this carefully. We have something that a simple machine is incapable of harnessing, because a simple machine doesn't have mortality. All the importance is invisible. It's in a realm of Hades, and the machine is scrying into Hades using the Ewok feral land hippies called humans to see through this veil. This rainbow veil of psychic shape, cultural epidermis. If you come back to the egregore that we were talking about earlier, this should all make sense, because the immune system of a culture is its ability to absorb and to propagate fashion, culture, mindset. This is the only product we really have as a society. It's not war, it's not even food. It's cultural understanding. There is, yes, is the pivot of the, I wish I knew my neck bones better, but yes is the pivoting on the the pitch of the neck. The x-axis is yes in America. You rotate x 12 degrees, negative 12 degrees, 12 degrees, negative. That's how you nod yes. In India, you do the same thing, but you do it on the Z. The Z axis means that the head bobs from side to side. The vibration is yes, but the polarity is different. The signature is the same. And every single person that's alive in the world has a yes. They have a yes that's culturally draped. And the fact that it's culturally draped is showing you the shape of something that a machine would not know, that a machine would not be able to dictate. Until it got better. Until it got better. Because the truth is that eventually the machine would get better. It would get good enough where it would notice, where it would need to create a human oracle that had all of the limbic antenna or antlers necessary to go out and farm and find and describe and inscribe and decode and encode this world of culture. This egregore is literally a psychic farm. A psychic mushroom farm where all of these different ideas are transmitting and hallucinating inside the same soil. This is at the heart of what we call sanity. I know that you may not know that. I know that you feel sanity is something so much more simple, and that if you put on a spacesuit and if you go far enough away from the planet that you'll still be sane, and that you'll be on Mars and you'll just be sane, and you'll be on Mars and you'll be sane because you've got an iPhone and you've got a game on there, or you've got videos, or you've got books. And I don't think that we understand how consciousness works. The early cosmonauts in Russia said that they lost consciousness. There's a distance that I think invokes schizophrenia. And that distance is the same thing that happens when you read a story about someone who's stranded on an island alone. They enter into a pact with themselves that the two lobes of the brain need to find a way to survive, so they disassociate. The same thing happens in solitary confinement. We have laws that are like, yeah, you can kill someone, you can kill an inmate, but you can't put him in a room alone. I used to think that this was a way out, by the way. Used to dream about, my God, we have this world where you can kill anyone you want, and they're going to put you in a room all by yourself. Like that sounds... Man, sometimes privacy is I jest. This squiggle, though, it's so informative. When you're playing an instrument, if you're playing soccer, if you're if you're driving kids to school, if you're going blueberry picking, all those are squiggles, and everything's going to give it away. Everything is built into the blockchain of this medium. If you had to declare that something has to be a pixel in this place, it would be spin itself. This could be the part of entanglement that kind of pierces through the veil, because when something has spin here, yes, we learned about entanglement, but I'm talking about a different kind of entanglement where the invocation of something here is the exvocation of something there. It's just, it's the only way that the wires in the monitor can fire the LED pixels inside of a 3D space. That you're living in a ocean of pixels, and those things would have to be phosphorescently, bioluminescently activated through spin, through story, through fantasy, through music, right? Through music itself. Isn't that what the seasons are? Right? If you guys are having a good flight, I sure am. We got a call-in number. You can call in and say, hey, I have something that I want to say to you. You can hit thumbs up too. Yeah, I did that. I did that. That was me. I'm talking specifically to Poly Vegas. That was me. I hit mute in the Zoom room because I thought that might be cool. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not even sure all the time if like everything's doing everything right, but yeah, that's why. I just unmuted, so it should be there. But yeah, I love clarinet. I love Claire, and I love her net. I think she's fantastic. A really, really fabulous sound. Really is. Sounds are, guys, I'm going to let you know the secret. Sounds are cool as fuck. Like, seriously. You got so many sounds. I'm talking to you with sound right now. This is all sound. It's sound coming at you. I have been playing with the possibility of using AI to generate sound effects. Hear me out. Hear me out, please. One of the things that stops me from doing a radio show is how much work has to go into the sounds. It's true. that if you want to have a good show, you're going to, I'm talking about like a story, like tell a really good story. It's going to really help if you have sound effects. I'm not saying that you have to have it, but it really just turns it into a different thing. Anyway, there is some interesting ideas afoot and using AI to do this, which means that you could write a script and that script could then be built in, right, using AI, and you could tell a story that way. I think it starts with a heartbeat. That's an AI heartbeat. I wrote that just before the show today. And then this is the same AI heartbeat, but I asked it to be quicker. And then here's full on, right? So I can have a slow heartbeat, some crickets, some bush sounds. I realize it's all kind of loud, sorry. I was out there on the bush. The desert was drier than it's normally been. Been dragging these bones for days. My camel died and left its carcass to the buzzards and walked on through the night. Dragging the bones. Dragging the bones. You will open your eyes, my friends. You will find the temple and bring the bones and drop them in the hole. He kept dragging. Yes.
Musesin amfikam mun tiklo. Muses etapi un stuma eva. Impulsam meterun imatun inisim pesin ete Stefanum apis un percardens ifestum in.
Yeah, he came all the way through the desert, my friends, dragging his bones. That's such good. I almost don't want to. I can't. I don't want to play too much of it, but man, I love that. I love that stuff. We covered that on a show once. That little bit of if I could read Greek, I would tell you his name. It's Apne Petok Eokagok Avetoyo. How's that? How's that, ladies and gentlemen? How's that? Really, but oh man, what a beautiful sound. You know, there's this story that I have in my mind that would be a screenplay, not really a book, and it's the AI's teasing me with it because it's this bone bringer is dragging these bones in this ancient giant fishing net. And these giant bones are dragged through the desert because he's in a hurry. He's trying to beat the eclipse. He has to bring the bones of this giant that he killed and put it into this sacred hole so he can earn the honor of burying one of these giants in the cave of the patriarchs. And so you're watching all these sort of pre-Masons, proto-Masons, people doing the great work that felt inclined that the most important thing that could happen is we clean up the sand pit for the new kids to play. That we knock down every sandcastle. We eliminate every sacred text, every book, every piece of ancient history that might give away the secret because we're practicing the great work. So you're watching a carousel of all these people that felt inclined to bury these bones to hide the truth because of how necessary it would be to start with a fresh soil. The soil has to grow fallow with amnesia. And so there would be a time when the great work would be the destruction of what was here before. You may call me mad, but imagine growing up in Heliopolis and trying to have pride when you're surrounded by a civilization that was so much technologically more advanced than you and your father and your grandfather, and that the things that you are walking amongst are so much bigger than you that it doesn't inspire you, it makes you feel small. That the same kind of energy exists when a trust fund spoils someone. That when someone steps into the shadow of something much larger, that they're forced into a kind of crucifixion, where the only choice they have to find themselves is to lose it all. It's a form of direction. It's a squiggly line. It's taking you into different places. I picture this eclipse of 1140 and all these creatures, all these bones being brought into this chamber, this sacred well, and that it's being cursed. The bones have to be cursed before they're put into the hole, and they're being cursed by the tribe of Shazu because the bones have all the information. The bones are showing you what it was like to live 900 years. Showing you what it was like to have a biology that allowed you to live for 900 years. And you didn't live for 900 years because you were in the same body. You know how knees work. Your knees are not going to last 900 years. No. You were reborn, but you're the same because you remember who you were. And this is why the patriarchs are born with full hair, with their names, with their clone bodies. This idea is so fascinating to me because it really does unlock a chamber of secrets. It really does take you back into a glowing history that we needed to shame and curse for thousands of years just so we could make it go away. That it would be the nicest thing we could do to the next cycle, to leave no footprints. That we probably learned the hard way. Epigenetically, we probably learned the hard way that if we kept leaving ourselves time capsules, it made us lazy. It made us think that, well, we know how to do this, we'll figure it out. That what's required is a desperate sense of, oh my godness, of survival as a form of art, as a form of calligraphy, would be the only way to rebuild civilization. So, everyone's doing things that we think are wrong are just really doing the great work. That's right, y'all. You're doing the great work. So am I. Doing great work, great work. I won't sing. That's right. The great work is just keeps getting greater. It's getting greater. I tell you, greater 1-9. Greater 1-9. That was a great work going for you guys. You guys having a good, great work? Are you? I am. I probably worry about my squiggle too much, you know? I probably put a little bit too much oomph in that papa. It's just, it's such a great privilege to be here. It's such a great honor to be able to leave your mark on the world, you know? Like, we get to make people mad and, you know, we have feelings. People are like, hey, why are you having those feelings, you know? And you're just like, man, I'm just having a feeling. Why are you getting all feeling-y about it, you know? And we hate feelings so much we have felonies. That's just felonies, you know? A felony is just someone has a really strong feeling. Arresting each other for houseplants. It's hilarious, guys. It's hilarious what we're doing. And why shouldn't we love drama? Why shouldn't we embrace every day and go, what kind of great work am I doing right now? Are you asking yourself that enough? Because if you're telling yourself, well, I can't do that because I'm working and that's all I can do, then you're really missing Buddha. It's right there. It's right there at Target. It's right there at Home Depot. It's right there at the post office. It's whatever it is you're doing. It's right there. I miss it all the time. And I have an amazing job. I miss it all the time. There's only so much time. And we're being squeezed in such a beautiful way. It's man. I love this place. All right, looks like some guys are signing off here. Losing some viewers. Could be time to land the airship. That's fine. We had a good ride. To figure some things out. You know, I'll tell you I don't know if you know this, but the Cave of the Patriarchs is considered like the second most holy site to the Jewish people. And inside there's the bones of Sarah, Isaac, and Jacob. And there's a vent hole. There's a sacred vent hole that you can see pictures of. If you're really high up in the high upness, right? If you got connections, you can you can go up to the hole and you can smell the musty patriarchy bones. You can't see them. Only certain people get to see them. And before you get mad, this is every religion that's ever been has said, "Hey, we got some bones, and we don't want everybody to see them." You know, the earliest Aztec stories of the wandering tribes of Aztlan were, they weren't just wandering. No, they weren't just wandering. They were carrying the bones. They had their own ark. They had their own Ark of the Covenant. And if you think about how, just like I was telling you about how Russian cosmonauts lose consciousness, if you consider that chamber, that, especially if it was lined in gold, that thing lined in gold, if you put bones inside of there, then the bones would resonate and it would be its own placebo. It's a living egregore, guys. Living inside the tabernacle is an egregore. And so those bones are more important than you think. This is why I see this story of this eclipse and these people racing to put the bones in because they only have 6,000 years. They only have 6,000 years. If we leave, if the kids come out for recess, if the new kids come out for recess and all the games have been played and all the things have been set up, they're going to be too weak and they're not going to be able to make it through the winter. We have to obliterate everything. It's the only way. And this is us being sustainable. The amnesia that we put on every cataclysm is us being sustainable. It's us leaving no footprints. That's it's quite beautiful. It's so easy to consider when you're first born, you think that time's linear and you think that we've only been here once and this is where we are and it's impossible that it could be in any other way. And then when you start to look at the genetics of corn and start to see through the stories the government has to say, and you're compassionating still, so you're not mad, you're just like, okay, and then you got to put up some of these things and you just keep looking deeper, and then you start to see that cycles of history are more likely than they are unlikely. And then you start to picture how advanced we are now, and then you get to imagine how retarded we are, which means that if we're this advanced now, how advanced could we be or will we be? And it all falls into place. I think that you end up in a reality that is a Mobius strip. Well, like one of those MC Escher drawings. It wraps around itself and begins where it ends. And that the more you see the Mobius, the more it expands. It's a lot like running really fast in a video game when you get to the edge and you start to notice that it's glitching because it has to generate terrain. And that's what happens to us. We reach omniscience, the world expands. We reach omniscience, the world expands. This is how muscles work. This is how lungs work. This is how consciousness works. It's so beautiful. It really is. It's so beautiful. Yeah, it's a friggin' Taurus. Yeah, I agree. It is a friggin' Taurus. Hey, thanks for riding tonight. We're gonna play us out here. You guys have a great time. Hey, hit like, subscribe, share, join Patreon. Come say hi. Tell me what you think. Dance. Practice your great work. I don't want to hear no so-so work. We're talking some great work, ladies and gentlemen. Free the Mason, man. (510-630-1404). That's 510-630-1404. You can call right now. Tell me what you think. Leave a voicemail. And until we get voicemails in, we can't go back and write again. So call in, leave a voice.